Mr. President, I thank USG for political and peace-building affairs, the facilitator for the implementation of Resolution 2231, and the head of the delegation of the EU for their briefings. Since 2015, France and its E3 partners have shown unwavering commitment to the full and complete implementation of the JCPoA and of Resolution 2231 by lifting European sanctions in accordance with the established timetable and by facilitating access for our companies to Iranian markets first and foremost, by clearly opposing the withdrawal from the agreement by the previous American administration secondly, and finally by sounding the alarm on the advancement in the Iranian nuclear program beyond the limits established in the agreement. With all of the JCPoA participants, last spring we held 6 negotiation sessions, and we made significant progress in bringing all parties back to the agreement. But these discussions were interrupted on the 20th of June at the request of Iran the day after its presidential elections. And since then, Iran has postponed for 5 months on repeated occasions a return to the negotiating table. We had real hope in the resumption of JCPoA negotiations in Vienna on the 29th of November. And yet today, 2 weeks after the resumed negotiations, which we have undertaken with a constructive and serious approach, we must recognize that the survival of the Iranian nuclear agreement is under even greater threat. It is not possible for the Security Council to ignore the seriousness of this situation. Mr. President, we are both disappointed and concerned at the stance of the new Iranian negotiating team. Iran has made maximalist demands, many of them going far beyond the JCPoA, and has backtracked on commitments which had been achieved following long weeks of difficult discussions. Despite the change of tone by Iran in recent days, we are far from any progress in discussion on the nuclear issue. Discussions are not headed in the right direction and are not moving forward quickly enough. Time is of the essence. We are getting to the point where the Iranian nuclear escalation will have made the JCPoA meaningless, because for the past 2 years, even up to today, including during the Vienna discussions, Tehran has pursued and accelerated the development of its nuclear activities of greatest concern without any credible civilian justification, primarily the accelerated accumulation of uranium enriched up to 20% and up to 60%, as well as its activities related to the production of uranium metal. These activities allow for acquiring key knowledge in the manufacturing of nuclear devices. Subsequently, the Iranian nuclear program has never been as advanced as it is today. These developments are even more alarming because of the serious lack of cooperation by Iran with the IAEA. We are aware of all of these details of breaches thanks to the IAEA reports, and we renew our unwavering support for the work of the agency. It continues to point out the risk of being unable to maintain the continuity of its Iranian nuclear program knowledge, and this is an essential element for ensuring return to the JCPoA and for verification. This is even more true when it comes to activities related to the advanced centrifuge production in the Karaj site, and we call on Iran to resume full and complete cooperation with the agency. In this context, France is concerned by Iran's pursuit of activities and ballistic transfers which have a destabilizing effect in the region. Iran cannot ignore its obligations under Resolution 2231. It is bound not to carry out any ballistic missile activities designed to be capable of delivering nuclear weapons, including launches using ballistic missile technology. Mr. President, we're at a crossroads. Iran has two options. Either it will pursue in the weeks to come its nuclear escalation, which will lead to the collapse of the JCPoA and to the outbreak of a serious crisis, or Iran will urgently opt for a global and fair agreement to benefit its people. It is by choosing this second path that it is there that the interests of everyone lies. The diplomatic approach still remains open for Iran to conclude an agreement, but in view of the developments of the nuclear program, this is our last chance to restore the JCPoA. It's a question of weeks, not of months. France is reaffirming its determination to pursue in Vienna in the coming days, along with all of our E3, EU+3 partners, to pursue active discussions for a rapid return to the JCPoA. We call on Iran to negotiate in good faith and to show the same determination to conclude an agreement as quickly as possible. Thank you.